and welcome into this very first episode of Integrative Health Simplified podcast. I'm your host, Kari, and I could not be more excited to kick off this podcast and to really just be with you guys during these episodes to share more of my passion, and that is helping you simplify your health, simplify the steps, decrease the overwhelm, all the things. I'm so glad that you're here. So, in this very first episode, I thought it would be really awesome to talk about a very common issue, and that is fatigue. Almost every single one of my inquiry requests to work with me has some way, shape, or form fatigue in the description of how they're feeling, right? They just don't have enough energy to last through the day. Maybe it's all day they don't have enough energy, or maybe it's the afternoon crash, whatever it might be, it's in there somewhere. So that's why I wanted to start with this one. So if you're struggling with energy, I need you to just listen up for the next few minutes. So I want to share with you the number one mistake that I see most women making when it comes to having enough energy throughout the day. And it's kind of a simple one, you guys. It's simply eating enough. That might seem really like, duh, Kari. However, you would be seriously shocked whenever I ask somebody this, or I see a food journal. If someone is working with me one-on-one, they always start with a food journal. And I'm like, okay, do you even know how many calories you should be eating in a day? How many grams of protein are you eating? All those questions I ask. And a lot of times they're like, I don't know. So let's dive into this just a little bit here. So assessing your fuel, assessing how you're fueling your body is really step one if you're struggling with energy. Yes, it's likely more than just what you're eating. However, this is foundational. This is how your body gets energy. This is how your body runs all of its daily processes. It really starts with the fuel that you put in. And so the micro and the macronutrients are the building blocks of all processes in the body. And so if there are gaps and the body doesn't have the fuel that it needs, then it often shows up as fatigue in our body. Now, that could be a wide range of fatigue. However, if you are feeling any sort of fatigue, I would highly encourage you to look and see, am I getting enough calories and nutrition during the day? And so you might be surprised at how many times caloric needs aren't met. I think that especially women, depending on your age, depending on, going through these different fad diets, or low fat craze, or, all of these different things that we've kind of seen as this is the way to health, have really skewed our perception as far as how many calories we actually need in a day. And so that is the kind of the first place to start. Do you even know how many calories you should be eating in a day? And do you know how many calories you're currently eating? So this might seem like, Kari, you're not asking, I don't want to do this. Don't ask me to do this. However, you really need to write down what you're eating at least 2 or 3 days worth to see how many calories are you eating in a day, and what do those calories consist of. Just today, I was looking through a food journal of one of my clients, and it's easier for me to spot because I'm a third party coming in versus you looking at, maybe you're not even looking at what you're eating and you're just kind of going about your day, or maybe even you're writing it down, and yet it hasn't dawned on you that you're simply not eating enough calories, and or you're eating a lot of processed foods. Even though those are giving you calories, what's the nutrient density of those foods? Because that really matters as well. And just specifically speaking about energy, protein is a huge deal here. Protein forward eating and just making sure you're getting enough protein morning, noon, and night, and sometimes during the day. We'll talk about that in just a minute. But protein is key in helping your body maintain adequate fuel. Your body obviously needs more than just protein. It needs carbs and fat and some fiber, but protein is really what helps keep you steady throughout the day. And if maybe you're having energy issues all day. However, a lot of people have fluctuations in their energy throughout the day, and protein is a really big key in helping to keep your moods and your energy and all of those things consistent throughout the day, because it helps so much with blood sugar balance. And so protein is really key here. However, you do want to consider how many overall calories you're getting in a day. So with starting a food journal, just start writing down what you're eating. This doesn't mean you need to be perfect. This definitely don't alter what you're eating on a regular day. You don't want it to just be you're eating really strict on the days that you're journaling. No, it needs to be an accurate description and depiction of what you are eating on a regular, everyday basis. And so that's really where I want you to start, because we need to see how many calories, how many grams of protein. You also could do, of course, fat and carbs if you wanted to kind of break those down. I also want you to consider how often you're eating throughout the day, because a lot of times fatigue and low energy simply means that maybe your body's not getting enough fuel, which also means your metabolism isn't really able to get revved up, right? It's especially if you're not hungry in the morning. That might be something that you struggle with. You wake up, you're not hungry, and so you don't eat until later on in the day. So that also is a sign that your metabolism isn't really working up to the capacity that we want it to. And so that's just another thing that I want you to consider is when do you start eating and how often throughout the day you're eating? Every 2 to 4 hours, every 5 to 6 hours, those types of things. So when you're journaling, make sure that you write that down. How do you feel after eating? That's another thing that you might want to consider that would be a really good indicator. Hey, am I getting enough fuel when I'm eating, or am I hungry an hour later? You really should be eating to sustain yourself for at least more like 3 or 4 hours. And so that's just an easy, ding, ding, ding. Okay, well, if I'm hungry after an hour after I eat, then I'm probably not eating enough calories and or protein at that meal. And so these are things that might seem really obvious. However, I think we can get busy in our day and not really even realize what we're consuming. We're just grabbing whatever is there. Or maybe we've just settled into a really, kind of a pattern of eating, and we don't really take note of how many calories are in those meals and how many grams of protein are in those meals. So that's just something that can become sort of a pattern that you don't even realize is a pattern that's not serving you very well. So this is a great place to start. Number one step to look at whenever you are struggling with energy. And so I want to give you a great resource to dive into if you do struggle with energy. This is the number one mistake I see people making. However, there are other steps to look at to support better energy. And so I've actually created a free PDF with 3 steps to support daily detox for better energy, because they're so intertwined. Our body is trying to detox every single day. And if we are not giving it what it needs, oftentimes it can show up in fatigue. And so these 2 things you might not have kind of connected in your brain. However, they are very connected. And so I've created this great PDF for you. It has more information on the number one mistake I see women making, which is not fueling their body correctly. It has more information on that, including a food journal and or an app to track what you're eating to make sure you're getting enough fuel for your body. It also has 2 more steps to take for better energy that are included in that free PDF. So I'm going to put the link for that in the description of this video, and also the description, the show notes of the podcast. So in case you haven't realized yet, you might be listening to this as a podcast episode, or you might be watching it on my YouTube channel. Each and every podcast episode is going to be both of those. It's going to be a podcast and it's going to be a YouTube video. So depending on how you like to consume your content, one might serve you better than another. However, each episode is going to be in both of those places. So I'm excited to offer both of those to you. But this free PDF download is going to be in both places, so you can access it really easily. And let me know if you have questions that stem off of this episode. I love to have conversations with people, oftentimes in my Instagram DMs and email, wherever you want to message me. I would love nothing more than to have a conversation, to try and help the best that I can, maybe even give you access to different different resources that you might need that would serve you personally. However I can help, I truly, truly want to. So reach out. Let's continue this conversation. I would love that. There'll be lots more information that you can find in the show notes and also in the description of this video. And I will see you guys on the next podcast episode.